And we're on, guys. Welcome to welcome to the Why We
You
Serve with Benjamin Lake. With you as always, it's me, Ben. Um, we've had a big gap, so I hope you guys are excited for this one. I got another good friend of mine, Dylan Gallagher. What's going on, Dylan? Say hi to everybody.
What's up, man? How's everybody doing?
I hope they're well. We tried this like a week ago with another buddy of ours, and we realized it didn't work too well with the double format. So we're here trying for round two. Um, Dylan, I don't want to get too deep into it yet, but Dylan worked with me when we were stationed together for almost basically 3 years, I guess. Um, he became a very close friend of mine, and he's kind of going to tell us about his story, how he joined, what he went through as he joined and you know he's out now but not fully, but he's in the reserve still, a reserve or guard.
Guard.
Yeah, so he still does guard stuff, but he's kind of just gonna walk us through that whole deal. And me and Dylan have had very deep conversations throughout our careers about how we feel about the military and stuff. So I'm excited to talk to him about this stuff and get his thoughts. Last time we talked, it was kind of not bullshitting, but we were we were kind of bullshitting. So this time, I think we'll kind of dive deeper into the weeds on some stuff and hopefully get a little more in depth. So, Dylan, I can't thank you enough for coming back on, man, because I know you're
I think
just as busy as me, man. Like,
I think
um,
that it will be on the Patreon.
yeah, yeah, that other episode, guys. If I get a Patreon going, it's the first episode out there. I I hope we can
Not
get some
safe for work.
subscribers. Yeah. Dylan, tell us, man. Tell the people your story. Let's start with your childhood, how you brought up, and what really brought you um to join the military.
Actually, I'm gonna shift gears slightly. I'm gonna take this just a little bit differently. I'm going to say what I'm doing now, just so it makes sense that I'm instead of walking us through.
Okay,
Is that feasible? All right.
dude,
So
you're
yeah.
guiding it. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm a staff sergeant in the United States Army, as currently National Guard, because a lot of people don't know or understand that it's a state entity, but it's a federally ran system. Don't ask me anything other than that because I don't actually know anything about the National Guard, nor am I good. There's so many acronyms and ways that they don't pay you and give you benefits and just other nonsense that I couldn't explain, nor will I ever try because I just really like war. But yeah, so my name is Staff Sergeant Gallagher. I'm a team EOD team leader for the 753rd EOD out of West Virginia. I'm currently living here in Washington State, a little bit south of Seattle, in the Joint Base Lewis McChord area. And I tell you all of that, so it just makes a little bit more sense once we kind of figure out exactly, where we're going throughout this story. And I've been a EOD team leader roughly, I think, 14, 14 years now. So
Damn.
been in a little bit longer. Not close enough for retirement, especially because it's the National Guard. They count it in weeks and not years. So gross. All right. So let me drink a little bit of my drink, and then I'll tell you. I'll tell you where I started. Ugh. Yeah, maybe sour candy was not the best thing to eat on a podcast. Who would have thought?
Ugh.
Okay. So what, you don't like sour candy? It was this or
No, I
chips,
hate
Ben?
sour candy, man. I
This or
hate it.
chips?
I hate it.
All right. So don't look at me like I'm the weird one here.
Dude, it
Uh,
sucks. It's I when I ate the candy, I go, ugh, it's so good. No, it's supposed to be sweet.
yeah, it sucks that I would like citrus fruit, the kind of things that have kept people from getting scurvy as they explored the
Yeah,
rest of the
yeah.
world. Sure. I'm,
Sour Skittles are totally equivalent to fucking oranges. I'm sure.
yeah, taste profile, yes, 100%. Um, cool. It's get it. We don't. Yeah, we get it. You don't like freedom. But back to what I was saying. Yeah, man. So I was born in Washington D.C. Area. The actually in Providence Hospital to a beautiful family that had two older brothers at the time. And then, roughly we lived a little bit north of Washington D.C. And then roughly when I was three, I had my father was taken from our family from a young kid throwing rocks at oncoming traffic, and then that proceeded to us moving up towards the mountains areas where I think at the age of 6 or so, my mother moved us away from the Chesapeake Bay and then towards the mountains where I proceeded up until I joined the army.
Do you
You want to go
think
further into that?
I want to know what were your initial thoughts? How old were you when your dad died?
So I was three. I was three and a half, I think.
Okay.
And so it really did. It
It
affected
did.
my 9-year-old brother,
Yeah.
but it didn't really affect me. I mean, it probably affected me in the long run because now I look at death as not really that big of a thing
Yeah.
as compared. You know, people lose somebody and it's the end of the world. I lose somebody and I'm like, till Valhalla, brother.
Yeah.
But without the
Well,
whole Nazism.
would you think, you move from this very heavily populated area? I mean, I don't know, man, cuz 3, you don't know shit from Shinola at 3.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, do you think growing up though, without that dad, did you have a father figure in your life from like that age to 18?
Yeah, man. Armageddon, John Tabor, or Harry Tabor, Bruce Willis's
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
Harry.
Yeah.
I once
That's
told
my
my
dad in
brother
real
that.
life. I don't know if I think you've met my dad maybe once. That's my dad in real life. He's just yelling
Yeah,
at people and shit.
I once told my brother that, and he was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, man, Mel Gibson raised me." So that's we all just have that same
Yeah.
father,
Dude, I think that's honestly like what people do. And I mean, I probably did it to some extent. I think everybody does it. Like, you find that like fucked up father figure in movies and you're like, you attach to something, man, and you're like, yeah, he's fucking badass. That's my dad now. I'm
Well,
gonna
I
live
mean,
my life on that.
there's a lot of conversations that I mean are kind of based around tribalism and evolutionary setups that could lead us down that road. I mean, I was just watching a TikTok which led me to go down a deep dive in a bunch of case studies about how we are biologically set up to, after a certain point, look at our parents as dumb, and then that ultimately leads to us trying to find a different family because we don't think our parents are inept enough to like be in our small family, so we
Mm-hmm.
branch off and we their village, which from an evolutionary standpoint that's what you want because you don't want us
Well, you don't
marrying
want.
our sister.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I mean it's half and half, and not only that, like think about as a kid, do you ever listen to your parents? Fuck no, you listen to your friends.
yeah,
Like that's you learn all your life lessons from your parents, your friends' parents more than you do yours because you live with them and you can't tell somebody when they're in it,
yeah.
right?
Typically, your parents, they give you sage wisdom, and your eyes glaze over. But then your buddy's parents say sage wisdom, and you're like, "Oh my god, you changed my life."
Yeah.
It's like
And there's yeah.
how it is.
And there's a lot to say about raising not only your kids to be the best they can be, but setting up a good village and a bunch of good family friends, so that way they can teach your kids life lessons too. Because I can tell you, I have a 3 or a 4-year-old right now that doesn't listen to me worth a shit, and she is rambunctious as can be. And if I didn't put her around strong females and other people, she'd be one of the most impatient assholes in the world.
Well, that's the
So
hardest part, dude. My kid, my oldest, right? My oldest boy, he is around these other kids that have very, I'm from, obviously, this small town, and you hear about these parents of these other kids, and you can tell these kids are a little rougher. Not bad kids, they're just a little rougher. But then you hear about their parents. So then they come around my kid, and I'm like, how much do I want to impart on this kid? But also, I'm worried of their reflection to my kid. Like, do I want my kid dealing with all that bullshit? But I also want my kid to be a stand up steward, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like, what's the
You got to
balance,
find
you
a good.
know?
You also got to not be afraid to put your kids, like, it's half and half. You need to put your kids around successful kids, so then that way they are also unsuccessful, because they'll ultimately get dragged down by their friends too if they're all pieces of garbage.
Right.
But in saying that, they also need an example to be of what is wrong. Because I look
Bingo,
back at
man.
all
Bingo.
my friends too. Yeah, so you just got to give them as much morals and tools, and then hopefully they equal that out and go off to do great things.
Yeah. You start hearing that. I used to always hear that. I'm sure you heard it too. It was always like, um, if you're the smartest person in your friend group, you're doing it wrong.
So 100%. What's Dan Pena? You know that little billionaire, the $1 billion
Mm-hmm.
man.
Yeah, yeah,
Class. He's like, if all your friends are pieces of
yeah.
shit, then you're a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're and I actually have a roommate here, a guy that rents one of my rooms. That's best friend growing up in high school with Dan Pena's kid.
Oh wow.
Dan Pena would always say, "Stop fucking hanging out with him."
Oh
So I
damn.
don't know what about my roommate.
Yeah, I was like, what is it? What's to say about the roommate?
Yeah, but I mean, he's a good dude. But yeah, that's it's really funny. No, it's I don't know. It's a weird balancing act of. I also saw a quote, man, that said, never be sad that you raised dragon slayers in a time of dragons." I really like that too.
Yeah, but we ain't got no
Like,
dragons now, bro. There's no dragons right now.
I mean, there's something. There's a
I
lot of shit out
know,
here.
but
You don't like Tacoma, man.
yeah.
You moved out.
I don't know, man. My kid, I get told my kid is like the most polite, stand up kid in the world. But then I talk to him, and I see flaws. But then you start doing introspection. And you're like, I have flaws. So what am I? Who am I to judge this young child? But it's like, I'd rather my kid be the standout child of, he does the right shit all the time, as opposed to being like, yeah, he's a tough kid or he's strong, but he does a lot of bad shit. So it's like,
Well,
that parenting is just a juggling act of what do I want my kid to turn out to be? And ultimately, you have no say in it, but you're trying to do the best you can.
yeah. I don't know, man. That's also another thing, though, is you're never going to your kid 100%. I mean, maybe a little bit, but we'll say 98% of the time will not do what you want that kid to do, because that kid is already doing what you expect that kid to do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
You train that kid to be the best kid in the world, and even if that kid just lets you down a hair, that kid is still better than every other kid possible, but he let you down.
I like
And that's
that.
a hard.
That's a
Yeah,
hard
so
pill to
that's the thing.
swallow, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. When my child was 2, her fingers don't even work. Her hand, she's literally been walking for a year, but yet I am the most impatient asshole in the world, yelling at this 2-year-old to go for. I was just hanging out with my brother-in-law, and he was yelling at his like 3-year-old for something, and I was like, dude, he just learned how to use his hands. Like, calm down. But
This is why I hate
we're
talking
getting
to
their age.
Dylan, folks. I hate talking to Dylan because me and him talk for hours and I'll find these beautiful moments of truth in there where I'm like, damn it. He's right again. And
Yeah, I'm pretty right.
he gets it, you know. What
No, a lot of surfing that I've done, both psychedelically and
but and physically.
pharmaceutically.
Yeah. Pharmaceutically. I'm riding the wave. The benzo wave. No,
Brother, you're laying That's all
um,
Theo Von was talking to.
dude, Theo
Who's
Vaughn is
that?
the wild, the wildest dude in the world.
He was talking to who's that fucking rapper who everybody loves. He's a white guy, Young Gravy or whatever.
Yeah, Young Gravy,
He's talking.
man.
Yeah, Young Gravy was like, so yeah, I was hitting DMT yesterday. And he was like, oh, you hit DMT? He's like, yeah, I mean, I'll take puffs here and there. And he like looks at him. He's like, yeah, it's low key. And he's like, what? Because that DMT like puts you
it,
on the moon.
yeah, for 15 minutes, your mind is in another realm.
Yeah. And he was like, I'll just hit it here and there. And he's like, what?
Yeah, bro, that favorite video ever. I think I said it last time. He's like, my favorite type of weed was cocaine, because he was addicted to cocaine for fucking like 5 6 years.
I said yeah. Every it's funny because every clip that I see of Theo Von is him just talking about how he was probably almost molested.
Yeah, it's never confirmatory, and you never know if he's joking or not.
No, it's 100% confirmatory. But it's like, again, did everyone that was above the age of 19 molest children where he was at? Because like every story is him like, yeah, man. And my teacher's like, God damn, look at that dick. And he took a picture of me. Like,
Yeah,
all right,
we were
back to
playing dodgeball in the parking lot, and we weren't really playing dodgeball. We were playing take your clothes off for the teacher. And
yeah,
it's like he says weird shit, and you're like, what? What are you talking
yeah,
about, man?
dude. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Everything is like, are you okay?
Yeah, yeah, you gotta go talk to somebody. Did you ever see him talk about
Hell
it? We gotta get off this. But did you ever see him talk about his dad?
no.
Because his dad
All right.
was his dad was like 72 when he had him,
Oh
and
yes, I have seen that.
yeah, and he starts crying about it because he's like, I made fun of everybody with him because I wanted to fit in. And he's like, I think if I would have just tried harder, I'd have like connected to him more. He starts like crying and shit. He's like, I regret that every day, and I don't know why I did it and stuff. I was like, oh my god, that would suck though. Your dad's like 70
Well, it's
fucking
joke.
years old. Like, what do you do? What do you do? You can't play. He made jokes about it a long time ago. He'd be like, what was it? Catch or don't. Like, because it was weird, man. Like, you can tell he's like awkward about it.
Hell yeah.
You know?
Hell yeah.
We'll get off of it. Dylan, it's childhood. We went down that. Let's go over just basic high school shit, and then because I'm pretty sure you joined right out of high school, right? Like 18 or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So let's go down that road. Tell us about it.
Yeah. I mean, long story short, I was a part of like the Wild Kids friend group, and I was always the I thought I was the most unwildest of the wildest, but like later on in life, I realized that no, we were all just fucking crazy. So I had that group, and then while I was doing all of that, I like always knew I was going to join the army, so I did the JROTC stuff too because I heard they would give you an extra rank, and you know I liked suit and ties, so so I did JRTC too because it was a new program and we got coaxed into it. And so it was just me and my buddy that we did it all 4 years because we both knew that we were going to join the military. And then while that was all going on, I kind of just lived in the woods and I was somehow the really sociable kid while also not having a lot of friends. So yeah, pretty much the ultimate goal was always to join the military, and that was kind of what I was set on. So just a lot of playing in the woods and camo and stuff.
Do you
Uh,
think? Do
all
you
through.
think? Do you think the JRTC thing? Do you think it led you to like, I want to be enlisted or officer?
So I always was told to go enlisted and then become an officer. Now and this is I probably could freaking get an article something another on it, but I absolutely despise the officer corps. And I'm just not a fan of
You're
it
not.
anymore
Yeah,
because we live in a military where everybody can read. So Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of the officer corps, and I don't really understand it.
You're
I
not
didn't
the
get that
first
until I
person.
joined the army for a while, but
Yeah, you're not. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I just
no, you're fine, dude.
you're not the first person to say that, as well as my own
Yeah.
opinion. I get really frustrated because now I'm like after E5 or above, and a lot, like I would say 50% of privates have degrees. So I get very frustrated with Officer Corps cuz I'm like, what the hell? What the hell are you guys providing besides a degree, which most of us have anyway? Like you're not doing any service. If anything, there should be a hardcore. I think there should be a selection process for officers as hard as, if not harder, than SFAS. Uh, I don't understand how how it can be like that. I'm going on my soapbox
No, for
here.
sure.
You know,
No, 100%.
I don't know if you agree with me or what. It makes it
Dude,
breaks me down to the core, man, because like they want degrees even for NCOs at this point at the lowest level. And I'm like,
yeah.
well then what the hell are they doing? You know?
It's to me, it's giving the most responsibility to the least, like, what do you call it?
Inept.
Mature? Not even mature. It just, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we're giving all of the responsibility to the youngest, dumbest person, and we're assigning risk to somebody. That's all this is,
Yeah.
and that's all that it's ever gonna be. And I freaking despise it because, in my eyes, if you're gonna make officers, no matter logistics, quartermasters, ordnance, whatever, if they came out of that 4 years like having a doctorate in war and understood Lisco down to the like lowest to the highest level, then yeah. But our college systems and everything, like across the board, it all fucking sucks. So a person coming out of school for 4 years just wasted 4 years in my eyes when it comes to leading anybody, because now it turns into this weird thing that we do where we have like the lowest ranking officer that takes up guys and gets his like first platoon, and then he gets put with a an NCO daddy, which job is to guide and mentor him. But at the end of the day, the risk falls on that young dude.
Bro,
If everybody fucking dies, it is on the second lieutenant,
yeah.
which is nonsense. And
Hey,
it's nonsense that we have senior NCOs that are like, well, no, this is what we do. Like it's your job to ensure that doesn't happen. No, fuck you, because you're fucking both yourself and that leader, like down to the lowest level, which
yep.
is crazy.
I
And
I wanted to
my
point this out. I forgot to tell you. I'm not going to name a name, okay, but me and you worked for a mutual party. I believe he was an officer. He was there when I left, and then he went to a unit, and now he is the detachment commander. Well, he was, as far as the past 6 months, he is the detachment commander for a certain group's CRD. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I don't. But I mean, we can cut all this out, or we can talk offhand.
Yeah. I'll talk to you afterwards, but it's just like
Yeah,
shit like that, right? Where me and you both know this is an inept officer that is not doing his job right. And then boom, he's in charge of like another like even higher like functioning organization that actually has a real life mission sometimes, and they're not like how the fuck does that even work? Because like I can't be
yeah.
like me and you at this lowest level, we can't be the only ones noticing this shit. Like we cannot. Like I
I've talked to some senior leadership about it. Um, it's just too drove in, and I mean, even my boss, who is a big fan,
oh
and my civilian boss is a big fan of military traditions and stuff like that. And he's like, you'll never like, what would you replace it with? Well, it's all nonsense because it's based off of a system where people couldn't read. Like, I mean, it's such an old, outdated system,
yeah,
and honestly, our entire government needs to fall for us to recreate that.
right. I like the warrant officer system. I like that. I wish they were in
I
charge.
don't. You know why I don't like it? Because at the end of the day, they still fall under normal officers.
No, but I'm saying if you had to take it over again, I would make warrant
Yeah,
officers just the regular officers.
yeah, I got you. I mean, yeah, like work your way up and then
Yeah, and
jump
then
over it.
prove yourself, and then
It's
boom.
such nonsense. Like it's such nonsense, and I 100% think warrant officers, and I didn't realize this. I think I told you about this. I
Yeah.
think warrant officers are Samuel L. Jackson's character in Django Unchained.
Yeah, you told me
They
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's just such an and that's not going for my fly boys or fly females too, or I guess fly girls. Nah, that doesn't sound right. That's not going for all the pilots and stuff and the people that actually make sense. That's
Yeah.
going for the logistic warrant officers that I just think
The
are nonsense.
technicians, yeah.
I like it's such nonsense because we're setting people up for failure, and we will continue to do such, and it hurts me inside thinking about it, because I mean, and even then, like lawyers get that, PAs get that, 100%, because that is a trained task. But you getting out of college and going to a logistics school for a month and a half means nothing to me whatsoever because I could send a specialist that has two deployments or one deployment the exact same course
Yeah.
and that person's way more valuable to me, and I'm not trying to give somebody that has doesn't even have their front cortex completely developed and is full of testosterone and fucking all the hormones. I'm not trying to give that person people's lives. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is clearly why we've been at war, or why we just got out of a war after 20 years. Just nothing but nonsense.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that didn't. The ROTC just kind of, I don't know. It just gave me something else to do. I had two really good like leaders in there, that were really really cool to hang out with, and like great dudes, especially now that I'm like older and I still keep in touch with them. But that was more or less just an extracurricular activity that couldn't really
Kept you
make it or
busy
break
and
me.
stuff, or.
Yeah, and I always, as a kid, man, wanted to be an officer. I like
Mm-hmm.
growing up with Saving Private Ryan, like Tom Hanks's character.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah,
you see the cool shit. Yeah. I mean, you see it in old movies too. Like there were cool officers and stuff. I mean, like not like not I don't know. This is man. Dylan. I swear to. Oh, every time I talk
we
to you,
got
man, it's
we got part two.
I will go. No, we're not doing part two. I could go off on tangents with you nonstop.
Yeah, I
I
100%.
just no. I used to. My grandpa, right? He was a big. He would have Encore Western on all the time. I don't know if you know what
Oh
that
hell yeah,
is. Yeah,
same
you
here.
know what I'm talking
Bang
about.
bang, shoot
Yeah.
'em up movies.
Drew, isn't that such a fucking man, dude? All he watched was Encore Western, ACM, and TCM. And just watch old
Yeah,
fucking movies every day. And then would watch the Powerball at night and Cardinals games.
brother. That was my one grandfather who went to Korea, and the only war story he had was a truck got blown up by a landmine. And then I had another grandfather that all he watched was Top Gun and firefighter movies because he like we tried to watch Saving Private Ryan with him. He
Yeah.
made it maybe 4 minutes. Everything at D Day, he got shot in the chest on D Day.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that
That was your
happened at D
grandpa?
Day. What was that?
Who was that?
That was my pop. That was
Oh,
my
damn.
dad's son.
Okay.
Uh, he didn't only get shot in the chest.
Yeah.
They left the bullet in. They got him all healed up. He ended up getting back on the front lines. He was taking a shit. He got shot and stabbed. I want to say he got shot and stabbed by a German who just came around a corner while he was taking a shit by himself.
Jesus.
I want to say he was also at one of the Holocaust or one of the camps, like the Jewish camps. He like
Yeah.
part of that. Yeah, dude. Fucking just
What
that
a
guy. Just
fucking mess, dude.
getting it. Never talked about it. Not
Yeah.
once. Saw
But
me in my JRTC uniform. Slowly started talking
bro,
about
those old men like that are there'll never be another group like that. These stoic old men that just live through. I mean, my grandpa wasn't a World War II vet or anything, but they were just stoic, man, and they
it. Yeah,
lived through shit whether it was there or here, and they just dealt with it. Like
yeah,
that what they call it, the greatest generation or whatever.
yeah.
Dude, they just they dealt with everything. They never bitched and complained, and they were like so sage. You know, it's so
I,
crazy.
I I personally think they probably did bitch and complain. We
Pro,
just would have never seen it, and nor did
yeah.
our generation see it. It's kind of like
You think it was
my
to their
mom was
wives or like, or just by
not. No, it wasn't
themselves
even to
or
their wives. It was
yeah,
to everybody else at the bar.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because my
yeah.
grandpa did go
They.
to the bar a lot.
I was like, I was talking to my mom was up here, and my neighbor is like a physician's assistant, or no, she does something, she occupational therapy. She knows I like have kind of a background in psychology, and
Yeah,
she was like talking to me about something, and then something came up where my mom was like talking about how the generations before her generation, they never acted out, they just listened to their parents and this and this, and I was
I'm
like, that's not
sure.
true at all.
Yeah, that's not at
They
all.
created rock and roll.
Yeah. Have you heard of the civil rights movement? Have you heard of Woodstock? Have
Yeah,
Have you heard of Motley Crue? What
yeah,
What are you talking
exactly.
about? Guys, me and Dylan, I love talking to him. I'm gonna take a quick break to fix his batteries, and then we're gonna come right back into it with his joining actually and going through everything. So we'll see you guys in a minute. Hey guys,
Yeah.
we're back on the podcast. Me and Dylan, we kind of had a tangent when we were off air, just about like training kids to join the force. What were you gonna say, Dylan?
No, what I was gonna say is we're fucked up. The army as a whole's fucked up with the whole drill sergeant AIT program. And it was 9 cents. You know why? You were just telling me about a young kid who was saying that you guys were treating them like children. I think as a whole, the army does that in the worst way possible. And I know I've had this conversation with you, Ben, because me and you were in the same team as a stockbroker who was like really successful before he joined the
You
army.
talking about Corey?
And then yeah,
Yeah.
and we talked about how he crumbled as a human.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why is the army, why is there so many shitty fucking people that are E4 and below when at the end of the day they're adults? I personally think it's because we strip so much responsibility from people and we treat them like children up until 2 years, and then we decide that they're a leader from there on. I think that's wrong. The Air Force doesn't do that. When you go, if you ever deploy by yourself or you ever go to like an Air Force terminal, you will show up to a terminal and the person you're talking to is at most an E3, and
E3 or
that
E4,
E3
yeah.
is probably is running the terminal.
Yeah.
That's what they should be because they're an adult. They're old. Army, we would never fucking do that. We would never
No, it'd
sign off
have
on
to
that.
be an E5 or something. It's probably a salty E6 that sucks. Honestly, the Army with responsibilities that are like, well, they're not that big a deal. We'll put an E6 in there that's done with the Army. And it's like, no, he still sucks. You're just putting him in a
Yeah,
role that like you think is not important, but it probably is. And then you wonder why it falters. I don't
yeah,
know.
and we're risk adverse leadership wise that we don't give people the power at a young like age in the military, not age by like how old they are,
No,
but just starting. So that way they spend 2 years getting fucking their hand held, and then
yeah.
we're like, you have to be a leader, and then what do we get? We get nothing. Like we do so bad at that, and the whole drill sergeants and AIT students, like what to me is fucked up because if you're in your AIT, be in your AIT, man, you should already be an adult. If you're not an adult, we should cut you out. And that's a hard thing to say because we need the numbers and we need to drive those numbers. But at the same time, though, we handhold so many people. And I'm not saying be like Delta where you're running by yourself like 100%. No, work as a team, but I shouldn't have to carry you as a team. And maybe that's just my small team tactics that I've been in my entire career. But that's
I think what you're talking about is the same thing I think because we both have been in um I've been in, I was in the CRT thing with Tech Escort for you. Me and you doing the same thing, and then I was in a signal unit in S3, which is obviously not small units, but it's staff, and it was small staff. And then I went to group, which is small unit, and then I went to here, which is hard to explain, but it is actually small unit tactics because I'm with four other drills right now and a first sergeant, and that's it. That's all I do to run my everything. I have to outsource it all. Um, I think the Army. I really wish it would, but I know it will. When me and you are solving world problems right now over the dinner table, but um, I really wish they would go to smaller unit tactics. Like I wish they would focus on squad and team elements and get away from the
Or
giant
have,
stuff.
like no, because we need Lisco. We need Lisco as much as we need everything else. But
What's
you
Lisco? I don't know what Lisco is.
large scale combat operations
Oh,
is
okay.
what
Yeah, but
the Army's moving to.
you need that, right? And it's because Russia, Ukraine, China, that's what we're focused, right? Or North
Yeah.
Korea. But people need to work at a small scale before they get to those big operations. We're not worried about that right now. Everybody's worried about, "Oh, how can we maneuver a brigade unit into some type of force?" And it's like, okay, yeah, we need that for if shit hits the fan. But I also need this fucking team or squad to operate as a function. I need a platoon that is coherently sound that can get shit done. That's my
Dude,
thing.
it's all fear. It's all risk adverse leadership, and it's literally 100% goes back to that officer problem that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because if you're afraid of your soldiers taking responsibility for themselves, because it will fall back on you, you won't let them do shit. And like World War II, all of the fucking great things that everybody in the military has grown up thinking about is not based off of this concept that we're like, okay, you're not going to do this. No, you just do it, man. Like, do you remember when we were on the range and we were shooting saws, and I wanted to stand up and shoot my saw, and they wouldn't let me shoot
Yeah.
my saw from the
Yeah.
stand up? How how much nonsense is that,
I
especially
know.
with the Lima version? That's compact,
Yeah.
that's literally made to be small and shoulder fire. How much nonsense is that to
Yeah.
never let shoot that saw? When I multiple times through combat have shot saws from my shoulder position because I'm not going to lay down to shoot a machine gun
No, that's the
ever.
big thing. It's like what makes sense in the situation? What makes sense? And if people are like, well, that's not what doctrine says, or that's not what the task org says, whatever, that's not okay. I get that, but we're trying to figure out what the fuck works in combat. If people have combat experience, let them have their input and we'll work on that because that's what works.
And it just again it goes to fear, the fear of a leader, and not the like what is the chain of responsibility. It should be on the chain of responsibility to go, hey, sir, you need to let us sign this whole risk assessment and then do it, and do it to the risk assessment, because that's ultimately what the Army wants. When the Army fails, or when the trailer flips over or whatever, we want to be able to look at this paperwork and
Right.
it say, well, told them they weren't supposed to do that. So yeah, if you're shooting guns doing CQB or close quarter combat, like close quarter combat drills, and you want to stand up and shoot a gun, well, okay, write whatever paperwork has to say that you did everything as safely as possible, and then fucking do it.
Yeah.
But we don't even do that. We don't
Yeah.
even do that anymore. And
No.
that's, I mean, and like, again, I think that's the problem with the drill sergeant and AIT. I get it. Like I said it last time, the coolest thing and most scariest thing I ever heard was, oh, you thought basic training was bad? I'm not a drill sergeant. I never got told those fucking rules. I'll smoke you till you die. That is the scariest thing you ever hear when your AIT platoon sergeant is smoking you to death.
Yeah. And I mean, I saw it when I got to my regular unit because I had a platoon sergeant that was chill. I think he smoked very much. I get to my unit, I had a guy you and I both know. He was my first line NCO. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. He used to if I was late to the 10 minutes prior, every minute past that, he would make me do push-ups, and he would just he smoked the. He was good. I liked him, but he would smoke the dog shit out of me for that shit. And then there was other NCOs in there that would smoke the dog shit out of me for stuff, and it taught me like other stuff. Like it, it's not bad. It's just it was how they operated, and I became a better person for it because I was like, well, fuck this. I got to be on time. And I mean, even as a
I'm half and half though, man. I'm half and half because I like
yeah,
think smoking people's lame. I think a lot of times it's lame. I think you're just bullying people at that point.
well, I think you
And
are,
then like I
but
told
I
you
think
when I was in
dude, but you got to be the type of person that understands from that. I always tell people the thing I learned right is because I was a physical person, so I learned when I got smoked, okay, I won't do it again. Some people learn not from smoking, like they'll get smoked like dog shit out of them. They'll still fuck up because either they're a piece of shit or they're not understanding of that. If they get, there's some people, the second they get a piece of paper to them that says they fucked up, they're like, oh, I won't do that again. Not a lot of people are like that, and I don't condone it. Like, I'm the type of drill that is going to just smoke the dog shit out of people mostly. I don't like to write shit on paper. Um, but
yeah,
I think,
I was gonna be my
you
next point.
know, what's up?
It's a half and half. If you're an IET student, yeah, this dog shit. Like group punishment, sure, 100%. But when you're in the active like full army, I think like smoking people's dumb. But I also you have to be aware the not all people are intelligence wise is created equal, and like there's some dumb motherfuckers who literally all you can do is get to them is by smoking the dog shit out of them. But like me, you do paperwork or you smoke me, that's not gonna help, man. I'm probably just gonna disrespect you more. But
Would you, would you say
you have
I'm sorry?
conversations.
What's up? I'm sorry. I'll let you finish.
No, yeah, I'm like if you try to smoke me or you try to put paperwork on me, I'm probably just gonna disrespect you more, and I'm gonna figure out whatever way that I could possibly get around you, and do that more. But you like face me and you talk to me like a man and tell me you're disappointed, I will fucking shut down and fix everything for you
That's
right
my
off the bat.
that's my ultimate drill sergeant mode is when really shit hits the fan. I tell soldiers I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed and
Yeah,
how they really let me down. And then you look around and you see the faces and you go, you know what? I think I hit something there. I was gonna ask you though, do you believe counseling on paper has an effective reasoning to it?
hell yeah, because once again, it is all about paper trails and legally getting away with shit. This all it is it's all it's ever been, and we've done so bad at as like an NCO core as a whole as understanding that
Yeah.
and use paperwork properly because so like EOD is pretty dope. I don't know if it still exists, but there was a probationary period where you had 18 months to figure out if you fit or not, and then the commander would just kick you the fuck out because if you didn't fit within the group, you weren't a part of the group, and they would just sorry, you're not here to ride with us, and they would force you out. Uh, in my eyes, you should do that all the fucking time, but that doesn't help for numbers. That doesn't help for
Right,
the big
right.
army of our
Keeping people in.
ratio of I think it's like I think we have like a 6 to 1 or 3 to 1 or something where we have like anytime we fight somebody, we have to outnumber them.
Three
Like
to one,
every
yeah.
battle needs to
Three to
be like
one.
that.
3 to 1 is technically
Yeah.
the standard.
And then Rangers do 6 to 8. You know that? That's how
I didn't know
Rangers
that, but that's
overpower
three. I don't
things.
know why they say 6 to 8 when that's 3 to 4. That's weird.
Yeah, it's something where they have to like when they hit a target, they're showing up with all of their friends and all the
Yeah,
speedball missions. I
but a
don't
lot
remember.
of the times
I'm
they play in those missions like that anyway, so I don't even know why the fuck they're worried about it.
it's just, I mean, but again, this is all Lisco stuff.
Yeah.
This is all understanding the fight. Which it's, I mean, that's 100%. It's all like the paperwork is a big important thing. That man, dude, I used to love when I would fuck up and somebody would smoke me because like that whole double jeopardy thing. God, thank God for that. Right? Smoke me all you want.
You
Don't
know
take
that's
my
not a real
money.
thing though. I looked that up. You can still actually counsel someone even if you smoke the dog shit out of them.
No,
Yeah.
I will. Okay,
I
noted. Whatever.
yeah. No, I
I
get what you're
like. I
saying. I get what you're saying because I used to think that too. I was always like, yeah, they smoke me. I can't get counseled at that point. And then I learned, oh, you actually still can get counseled for the whatever action it was. They just put whatever like the corrective action in the plan.
Oh yeah,
So I
that
did
makes sense.
not know that. So food for thought for anyone out there that is getting this dog shit smoked out of them.
I mean, to be fair though, I maybe when I thought that or when I knew about that whole rule, I didn't know what an actual Article 15 entailed. I just thought you could get Article 15. But I don't actually know what an Article 15 entails too. I've always said that I would like sit down one day and read everything in the Army because that's a possible thing. We pretend like there's a lot of information out there, but there's really not. Like all the FMs, there's only a handful of FMs. Like if you compared FMs to, say, literature on Rome, there is way more literature on Rome, and there are people that study their entire lives for
I
Rome,
mean,
right?
that's objective, bro. You could say like, how many books has David Goggins written? He's written two. Well, how many FMs are there? Well, there's probably like 200. Well, shit, I'm not reading that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's only 200, and then you're done. And that's all of the ones that are actually dated correctly and are still like
Yeah,
signed by,
I get what you're saying. It's
you
just
know,
that's a lot, bro. That's a lot.
or you think of like an Audie Murphy board, like that
Yeah,
seems like
that's
a lot,
yeah. It
but
seems
then
like a lot, but it's not.
yeah, you just memorize it and you know it. Like it's
Yeah,
not, you know what I mean? Like if you just sat down and went from one side of the military to the other, you could learn everything about it, and it wouldn't be that hard. It's not like you wouldn't get a doctorate. Like you know what I mean? Like there's not enough information
I feel
that
like you
you're.
would just need like a certain amount of time of isolation to where you're like, oh yeah, I'll sit down and read this. That's a lot of isolation though.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. But I mean, people read the Twilight series. So like
Bro, the
you know,
Twilight series is pretty good though. No. I never read it. I was just like,
I,
sounds good. Bro, did you ever
yeah.
hear the? We gotta keep going, but I want to go over one conspiracy about
Oh, the idea of
the 9/11
uh,
thing.
hang on. Are you talking about the replacing of what's the male vampire in that? It's Jake.
Edward.
Yeah, replacing Edward with the T Rex.
No, it's like this one is like when 9/11 happened, a what was it? Literature. There was some type of literature, some shit that happened.
I
Uh,
don't know.
oh shit, what was it? I'll say it's her first. She was inspired by 9/11 to write literature. Stephanie Meyer was, which became Twilight series, which in turn gave uh
50 Shades of.
fan fiction to something that became 50 Shades of Grey. And then there was like another thing that came off of that or before Stephanie Meyer. That was another shitty ass series. And it was basically like 9/11 caused these atrocities to happen. Like it was just
Nah,
insane.
I don't. Who knows? That could be a real thing.
It
But no,
is.
all you do is think about a T Rex sitting behind Bella, and she's like I see your scaly sin, your small arms, your big teeth. And then what did he say? He's like, say what I am. And she's like, a T Rex. That's just, I just want to see that.
Jesus.
That's all I care about when it comes to Twilight. I don't really give two shits.
I
I'm
love
Team
it.
Jacob. I like shirtless natives.
Dylan, we're going to go back. We're going back. So you joined. Let's talk about when you joined, what you
Is
joined
it me? Am
for,
I the problem?
and then basic and AIT. Just go over those things.
Okay, all right. So I joined back in 2009 as a explosive ordnance disposal technician,
Hmm.
and I, long story short, went to MEPS. My uncle took me there. He made me figure out a job because we just got my ADVAP score back, and they pretty much said I could do anything. And I was like, I want to shoot a gun out of a helicopter that's so big, panels and shit fall from the ceiling like on the movie The Matrix. And the guy was like, I can't get that for you, but what? What, you want
You
to say
should be
something?
Seaburn. That's what he said.
No, he didn't. He did not say that. I think he actually said Seaburn fucking blows, dude. He said, "Don't worry, this will haunt your past," and he put a cigarette on me. But no, he said, "You want to blow stuff up?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, there's two ways you can do it. One where you go to a lot of school and you'll be guaranteed to, or one where you go to school just a little bit and then you might get to blow stuff up." And I was like, "Well, let's go to that one with a lot of school." Well, flash forward, 2009 had its own COVID, which was the swine flu, and they decided to test a company of young soldiers. I think it was a battalion of young soldiers on the swine flu vaccine, and my bunkmate got pneumonia, and another one died. So I lost a
Jesus.
bunch of weight, and I didn't make it through EOD school. And they told me that I was a 91 Delta, and even at the time, you tried to Google it, and that didn't come up because they changed the code. And flash forward, I
Oh.
found in Fort Lee as a power generation technician, and it was horrible.
Can I?
Hey,
I just want to point out for the listeners an EOD tech, what he joined for originally, right? That's a bomb technician. That's what people saw in the Hurt Locker. That's what people like. It's a bomb tech. They fucking it's SpongeBob. They work on bombs. They're bombs. No,
I mean, it's actually there's a bunch of people that argue that it's better than a bomb technician because bomb technicians do limited. But I mean, that's just me oddly flexing. So
yeah.
yeah,
No, it's okay. I get it. It's a you're prideful. I if anyone has ever met an EOD tech, and if they haven't, they're prideful of their job, which they should be. It's a very stressful and hard job. And Dylan unfortunately lost that at that point, and he went to be a generator mechanic, which is what he was describing. He's
whoa,
gonna. What's up?
generator. It's a generator technician.
I'm sorry.
They're better.
Yeah,
I
they're
was
better.
told that all times while I was suicidal at Fort Lee.
Jesus. We're going to jump into it, guys. I got to take a quick break, but we're going to jump right back into it, okay? Guys, we're
Mhm.
back. Okay. We're back. Dylan, EOD. We get a little sicky sick. And then we're off to generator school. Tell us about it.
It was miserable.
Are
The
you were you
worst.
pit I'm sorry, before I get into that. Were you mad, bro? Were you like pissed
Uh,
beyond relief or what's up?
yeah, I didn't want to be in the military anymore. I picked to be an infantry, combat engineer, and a military intel. You know, just because you might as well get out and have something on your belt. But I got in none of those whatsoever. Is me and this other guy, and we got down where they like we were talking about AIT not treating you like adults. They treat you like adults in EOD school because you're an adult. But man, we got to our actual AIT, and God, that was the worst place ever. I've never wanted to, jump off a bridge or a three-story building in Fort Lee uh, ordnance campus ever in my life until
Yeah.
that ordeal. And it was its own wild ride because they were trying to figure out how they were going to run the ordnance school because it was brand new at the time, and they didn't even have the EOD building wasn't even built that's there. And there was just a big sign that said like future coming EOD training center. And I remember just being so upset because I had to be a bomb tech, but there was like a light at the end of the tunnel. Or, I mean, I had to be a power generation technician, and the light at the end of the tunnel was like they said there was contractors that already did generator work in like Afghanistan, Iraq. So realistically, they would just put us on trucks, and I was like, well, that's going to be awesome. So I had that to look forward to, and I even like at one point tried out for the old guard, but they ended up not selecting me. I don't know. I think I might have been a little too tall,
Yeah.
but yeah, which thank God I didn't do that because that would have been freaking
Yeah,
miserable
that
too.
that would have been
Uh,
for the people that don't know what the old guard is. It's like Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, Arlington Cemetery Funeral Honors, shit like that. It's very arduous and very like it's kind of it's not I don't know it's not Dylan's cup of tea because it's very arduous and like um
my cup of tea is
it's
like chewing bubble
yeah,
gum. When that cup of tea,
Dylan wants to be out in the field. That's not field. That's like very ceremonial bullshit and it's I mean it's not for everybody. It's a hard job, but it's not a field job and it's not a even administrative or platoon sergeant job. It's just a lot of ceremonies.
yeah, and I mean, there's a time and place for that, and I used to love drill and ceremony when I was a younger dude, so maybe that could have been good for me, but as a grown person of myself now, I'm very happy I didn't go through that. And I mean, that doesn't say a lot of things because, like Mike Glover, that guy who runs Fieldcraft
Yeah.
Survival, he was a Delta dude. He spent time with the old guard.
He was in honor guard.
So
Yeah, he was there for like 2 or 3 years.
yeah, so I mean, and there's a lot of like I've always heard great things about running through DC. Like,
We have a
it's a good culture
yeah.
now.
So I keep interrupting. We have a drill. He was there. Um, very like very solid drill. He's not in my company or anything. He's not even in the battalion. He's a 88 Mike, but we share a building with him. Solid dude though. Just solid dude and he was like I was like, "How was that, man?" Like cuz that seems so much. He's like, "It was the hardest I've ever studied. It was a very ridiculous tasking, but I am grateful for it and it made me a very stronger NCO." Because it probably put him through the ringer of bullshit. Um, I'm not saying I condone it or decondone it, but he's as far as I've seen him, he's the only one I've met, and he's solid as shit. So take it for what it's
Yeah, I
worth,
mean,
you know.
it takes a very certain type of person, and I don't know. I I probably would have got kicked out for like drinking or something because that's just I was young, dumb, and full of cum, so that's just not the place for me.
Yeah. Um.
We're trying to
What?
do this safer.
Nah, I've had people say way worse. You see, you get through the that you're kind of depressed, not depressed, but you're mad. You get through the school obviously because it wasn't that difficult. Where'd you go first?
Yeah, so I had a sergeant major pick my duty station about a week prior to me like graduating. He asked me where I wanted to go, and I said I don't know. And then he's like, "Do you like Tennessee?" And then he put me in the 101st doing his magical sergeant major things, and I was printed orders, and I got to my first duty station, and then I think like a month and a half later, I deployed. So
A month and a
yeah,
half.
yeah,
Were you
yep.
excited or
Oh, dude, I remember being at a reception and them being like, "If you're here, you will deploy." And I was like,
really?
"Hell yeah," because that's all
Yeah.
I want ever to do. I
I
mean,
th-
I grew up war
wh-
generation.
yeah, I think all of us, I think prior to like 17 maybe. I joined in 15, so I know I can speak for that, I guess. But uh I remember most of us joining, we were like, fuck yeah, let's deploy. You don't really understand it, but you're just like, yeah, I want to do it. So I'm sure that was like a hell yeah, when you got there.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's kind of the only reason I want to join the military was to serve in overseas and do overseas things. I always had like that whole send me mentality without being religious or corny. But that was always the thought process was that to go overseas and do that. So to get told that I one was in the 101st, which was badass because it's the Screaming Eagles.
Yeah.
It's Matt Damon, David Private Ryan.
Matt Damon.
Uh, Two, I get to my first unit and it's a part of fourth BCT, which was Curhi, which is the original, like it's the
Band of
first
Brothers
506.
shit.
Yeah, Band of Brothers shit. So yeah, dude, it was nothing but badass. And then
Hell
I
yeah.
got attached to a cavalry unit that was out there, which if you Google it, it's the unit Jimi Hendrix was in. But I don't know if that's true or not. So I mean, whatever, we'll leave it at
I
that.
also
And
heard
then,
he was a piece of shit in the army. Hot take. I don't give a fuck what people say. Jimi Hendrix was a dog shit soldier.
hey, did you ever wonder why we still haven't passed women for selective service, even though that they can serve in the infantry? And you ever wonder with all the stuff that's going on in the media with trans, like if you ever had a draft, you could just say you were a female. Just saying, World War III's around the corner, boys. You're now women.
So you went to Afghanistan? No, dude. I get well. Hey, if you're listening, I'm about to start a Patreon. Okay, and me and Dylan are gonna jump into a bunch of hot takes. So listen in for that.
It's Patreon, OnlyFans, Feed Finder. It's follow me on Tinder, boys. Follow
Yeah,
me on Tinder.
it's called Benny and the Hot Takes. Okay, we'll be there.
Benny and the hot takes. I like it. I
Um,
like it.
no, I wanted to ask because I had a different deployment experience than you. Obviously, your first one, you get your got all this hype. You get ready to go. Was there any train up in that month or anything or what?
For me, for me, I was just loading up gear at the airfield
Right.
for other while they were putting me through SRP meetings. And which I'm happy because I didn't introduce me to the whole NTC JRTC rotation
Yeah, that
until I
shit
was
sucks.
after back.
Yeah.
Yeah, until I was like after, and I was in EOD tech. But like I don't know, man, it was a different army, and maybe it is the same army, but like I remember a dude going to the airfield, or getting told like a week before my unit deployed because they deployed before me,
Yeah.
and I remember them saying like because his wife like became a schizophrenic and dipped. Them like straight up telling him, all right, so you're gonna show up the airfield and then we're gonna give your kids over to CPS, and then we'll deploy from there.
Holy
And he
shit.
was like, "What?" Yeah, which was weird because it's 2010. Like, do we really need a heavy wheeled mechanic over in Afghanistan
Just
that
let the
much?
dude stay.
Like, yeah.
Just let the dude take care of his family.
But freaking Fort Campbell was sweet, man. Because the year before, or before I left, and when I came back, we still had like a World War II sergeant major who would run up and down Market Garden,
Hell yeah.
like one of the major strips, and like motivate people. So
He gets
101st
it.
was dope in some ways. There was also a lot of craziness. Like we had like two sergeant majors that got in like shootouts. Like one sergeant major of the post sergeant major got in a armed shootout, and then the next day retired. So like, it was
What?
it was sick. It was a sick time. But yeah, got to my first deployment. My first deployment was pretty cool. I was a power generation technician. And dude, I like didn't know shit about generators because the army, once again, army letting its soldiers down, don't teach you anything about your actual job. And then when you land in country and they're like, just learn from this guy, and he is a 10-year specialist. You come to find out that guy doesn't know shit either. So it's just nothing but garbage. It's
What
just
was that dude's
nothing.
name? You told me that dude. He was a piece of
Oh
shit.
yeah, his name
Like
was Stephen Wesley, but that's because he
Wesley.
changed
That's what it was.
from crap. I also told you that somebody may or may not have for 6 months come in his face lotion. So piss on that guy's bed. I went on a rant in the last
I
conversation.
know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
If I
bad.
had a fight on site, I will fight on site that guy.
Yeah. For those that are
That
listening, me and Dylan, well, it'll be on Patreon, guys. Don't worry. me and me and Dylan talked about this dude for a good like 20 minutes. This guy was a piece of shit specialist, and by that we just mean he didn't do jack fuck, during the deployment. He did nothing, and then he likes to place blame on everybody else. He is a piece of shit human being. So Dylan was in the right.
Yeah.
Dylan was out there being a PFC, uh, chain smoking cigarettes in the parking lot, and uh, basically fixing everything that they needed, while being a dilapidated piece of shit, obviously, and still 20 times better than this fucking asshole. So I hope he hears this, Wesley, wherever you are. God send, and have fun not doing well in the army. So Dylan did that, and
You
that's
just
that's
you
what
just wrap
happened,
up my limit.
huh?
Yeah. Thanks, Boo. Yeah. I mean, yeah,
No, I
no,
just
it's
I
like
wanted
long
to
story
cover I
short.
wanted to cover it, man. I'm not trying to like talk over you. I wanted to wrap it up as best
No,
I could. I was like, this guy, from what I heard, was a piece of shit.
no, not only that, I don't really want to rant on about how much I don't like somebody
Yeah,
this time. So you're covering me for that.
yeah.
No, long story short, I had to do a lot of reading on my own so I could actually learn how to fix generators because fun fact, there was no contractor on my base and it was just
Oh
me
wow.
fixing left and right. And while we were getting rocketed and like drive by shot
Were
at
you?
our base and all that stuff.
Sorry, were you in Afghanistan?
Yeah, I was in Northeast Afghanistan,
Oh,
right outside
northeast.
of Jalal.
Oh, okay. Oh, you were far over there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Jalalabad is like where the Navy SEALs brought Bin Laden's body.
Yeah, it's like, for those that don't know, it's right. It's not right up against, but it's closer to Pakistan. It's like on that side. So he was up there.
Yeah, I mean to put this into terms. Oh wait, a little conspiracy alert! Conspiracy alert! Uh, the SEAL team that was on base, my buddy was fixing his air conditioner, their air conditioners, and they flew out in the middle of the night, and then they came back and they all seemed very disgruntled, and then Bin Laden was dead, and then flash forward, Extortion 6 happened and a bunch of Navy SEALs died. So I'm just saying.
Hey, Dylan, I got a question I've been aching for. You probably know the answer. DevGru, okay? Is that SEAL Team 6?
Yes.
Same thing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And it's considered the top SEAL team, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of falls under the same fact that like our special forces groups are all made to train guerrilla resistance forces, but then you have Delta, which job is to well, though they are
Well, they're a
special forces.
hostage. Well, they're a counter terrorist group.
Yeah, but every all of technically all of special forces
Our
are
counter
counterterror.
terrorist group, yeah.
But Delta's main job is hostage rescue,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and
That's how
that's the
DevGru
same.
is too, though, right?
Yes, that's like
Okay.
they're strictly that same mindset
It's
that
their
certain.
counterpart in the Navy, basically, right?
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. But at the same time, though, Delta, I don't know, man. I don't know enough about that world, and
Right.
if
I
you
don't
know,
either. And I just always I hyper fixate on it because I love listening to their fucking stories.
uh,
But I'm
yeah,
like, what's the fucking difference in mission set here?
yeah. I mean, I don't know enough about that world. The little that I do know about it, I mean, you know that whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
The it's the it's I don't know. It's such a unique skill set, a unique
Yeah.
mission. It fits such a certain thing that it's all just speculation if you're not on the
Do you,
inside. And
do you think me and you know more about Delta because we're in the army, and we focus on that, or do you think DevGru just does not get as much focus?
well, I don't. I I think we know more about Delta because we know about Delta, and uh,
Yeah.
I would tell you a whole story, and then I would have to cut
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
uh, because I've signed a bunch of NDAs. So that's why I know. But I do like Dev Crew.
I think they keep their
They
secrecy, man. I think they keep it good.
no, they don't. It's the opposite. Like they're the problem. They
Yeah.
got fucking what's his fucking nuts? The guy who killed Bin Laden, who decided to tell
Oh, he
everybody
wrote the
about it.
book. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, he wrote the
And
book.
you got Captain Phillips, you got all of that different
Yeah.
shit. Then where you Delta, who, dude, they made their spokesperson a canine when Soleimani died, or
Yeah.
when remember
If
that they're like a elite Delta force, an elite force took down Soleimani. I think it was Soleimani, and then they're like, yeah, this dog's awesome, and then you just saw the dog everywhere. Like,
yeah.
there's a
Sean
lot of
Sean Ryan, if you're listening, and we know you are, just hit us up so we can rectify this. I'll go on there, obviously, and we'll
no,
figure this out.
a lot of stories that you like, when you read the different books that the media will never talk about, like
Yeah.
with Iran and Kosovo and all like the cool ass things. And I
Right,
mean, we're
right.
talking about public art. So I mean, I don't know how many missions SEAL Team 6 does, but I've watched the TV show. Uh, that seems great, but I mean, at the same time though, it also seems like every other SEAL team. So I can't tell. It's all outside speculation.
Yeah. How long were you in Afghanistan for?
It was that it was I think almost like 14 months with a month in the middle.
Jesus, man. It's a long time.
Great, dude. That whole having a month in the middle, because you end up taking 15 days to leave. You take 30 days to leave and another 15 days to come back.
Yeah.
Like that shit is so refreshing and so
Really?
good.
Yeah.
It compares to like just 9 months back to back to back.
Yeah.
That's miserable.
Go no,
Especially if you
cuz
have 9 months.
yeah.
That's just the military saving money, man. That's all that is.
Yeah, the 9 months is ass. I did 12 months, but I did a 2-week break in the middle and I felt amazing when I came back, most people do.
Yeah.
So I get it. But
And it
man,
goes
it's
back to
still
that whole
long, dude. Still long.
being on adult thing, dude. There's something really cool about being on your own flying across the country that
Yeah.
R&R
Yeah,
uh
dude.
like you feel badass when you're
Yeah.
going on leave. Even though you're just another cog in the machine and it's you and people who are getting on this C-130 to fly to Kuwait. Yeah, like you're not actually by yourself, but it feels like it. And I think the Army kind of needs to do more of that.
Bro, I rode on a C-130 with the whole ODA, and it was we were nut to butt, like it was close as fuck. It was so cool though. I mean, like, you're not even
Did
doing
they pull
nothing
out,
crazy, but you feel so cool. You're just like, man,
did
this
they pull out
sucks.
the hammocks?
No, they didn't. It was nut to butt, bro. You couldn't.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks. That
Yeah.
super sucks. Yeah, like my favorite thing is I've done it with the SEAL team and I've done it just as an EOD unit. Is flying with your own gear. So you just got like connexes in the middle and then you hook
Yeah.
up hammocks, lay around on the floor.
Yeah, you told me
Like
about
that's the
that
best.
shit. That's cool. That's fucking dope.
Or my favorite was like when we were transporting that bio agent out of, or that chem agent out of
Oh, with like the
Mosul.
4 other guys from 11th,
Yeah,
right?
and
Yeah.
it was us and then like 30 army people because in a war zone they're considered cargo.
Yeah.
And I remember just watching everybody like confused as we're monitoring this box.
Did
That was
Scott go
awesome.
with you?
Yeah,
He's a warrant now.
yeah, you told me that.
He's the man, dude. I love him. Side note.
I mean,
Um,
that really fits for combo warrant.
yeah. He's the
Yeah,
man, dude. I love Scott. He was so fucking funny. Got me through
yeah.
that first duty assignment. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah, yeah, dude, he's the coolest. I think you're
Yeah.
the coolest. You're one of my favorite people. You're fucking Jason Siegel,
Yeah, oh,
Marshall from
for
11.
everyone listening, Dylan's had this 8-year joke basically going. Not even a joke that I am Jason Siegel. And every
Yeah,
single person he meets, he goes, "Doesn't he look like Jason Siegel?" And they all go, "Yeah, Yeah, he kind of does. And I,
No, dude, it's not about the way you look. It's about the way you get flustered. So funny.
yeah, I get pretty
I mean,
flustered.
now that you're a big bad drill sergeant, you probably don't get flustered anymore. But
No, I
that's
get
my favorite
flustered
movie.
is a lot bigger than Jason Segel. It's more like Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill and like everything. Just getting very
Oh, what you
angry.
just
I just smoke pot a lot. Yeah.
yeah, you just get really high by yourself
I
in
just
your
get
car.
yeah, I just get really fucking high.
Ask Leonardo DiCaprio to be your friend. You just you like every time you get upset, message Leonardo DiCaprio to be your friend.
Why aren't you my friend?
Dude, I love those movies. They yeah, man, but yeah, we were in Afghanistan and it was a fun ride. Bringing it back. It
Yeah.
was a fun ride. They like I got to be a part of a couple really cool missions and I got to go out and serve in like a on this J cop and fucking,
Hmm.
surrounded by bad people that hated us and doing a lot of really cool shit
That's
uh
cool.
while I was out there.
Do you so you came back, do you regret any of it or did you appreciate it like 100%?
Yeah, I killed.
Yeah. Ooh.
No. Yeah, don't boo me. I have no soul. I'm like Mitch McConnell. I stole that from the press brief last night. That was legitimately a thing I said. Um, no, dude, I don't regret any of that. I told you a long story about my ex girlfriend and how cringy it was.
Oh
That's
yeah.
probably the only I regret. But I mean, long story short, I ended up dating her best friend, so it worked. It worked out in the best. All I'm gonna say is the chaplain's right. It sucks, but he statistically is right. Your girlfriend will cheat on you, and all your friends will not grow up. And when
Yeah,
you get back,
they
nothing
still
by the
say
end.
that shit, dude. They still say it.
Yeah. No, my favorite thing is it's like people are like, "Did war change you?" No, man. War was like taking a 12 to 13 month pause and then coming back and everyone else right. I was like, I just had less or I had more jokes. That was the only.
Well, you just I think what you realize and everyone realizes is that war, whether good or bad, right? Whether good or bad, it accelerates the aging process. That's why all those kids back before the Middle Ages, basically Middle Ages and back, maybe even Revolutionary War and back, because even 15-year-olds were fighting. You go that far back, like all these kids, like they looked like adults when they were 20 or 19 years old, and everybody's like, well, how the hell could they do all that? I'm like, well, they saw war. They probably were adults, you
No, I
know.
don't know, man. It was also a different kind of cloth. I was talking to my boss about this. There was a sorry. Yeah, I was talking to my boss about this. I work with like a bunch of really super crazy, like they've written books and they've done this and they got their PODS license and they're working on their doctorate and they're doing all of this crazy stuff. And I was talking to my boss about it. I was like, man, these people that we work with, they're I don't have a word, but they remind me of our founding fathers. And I say that because our founding fathers were like the average age was like 24, and they were like a master swordsman and a carpenter, and they did
Yep.
this, and they also had a degree in law, and they had and the only word I ended up coming up with because I was trying to find a way to explain them is there's a word called polymath. It's the I'm looking this up right now.
Sounds like
Uh,
a Renaissance man. That's what it sounds like to
yes,
me.
a Renaissance polymath is having learned much. Is an individual whose knowledge spans the central number of subjects known to draw
Yeah,
complex
it's just
bodies
Renaissance
of knowledge.
man.
Yeah, that's yeah, and I mean that's definitely how they were back then. But I mean I agree with you, and I also don't agree with you because I mean at the end of the day, we don't need to grow up now in our society. We don't have anything driving us. We don't have any like our lives will go till 90, and we don't actually have to rely on anything. As
Yeah.
comparison, Oregon Trail, we have to we have to find food. We have to find a way to get food. And if we don't do that, we will starve and die because no one is coming. You know what I mean? So it like you had to kind
Right.
of set
If
your
we
goals up.
forget this, though, if we forget all that, we're just gonna die out, man.
No, no, 100%. I agree. But I mean, it's like you set your kids up for success so that they could take care of you. Like that's why you have as many kids as you possibly can, and hopefully you give them tools because if you die, they're on their own.
Yeah,
And
but
that's how.
you know what me and you think? I think me and you, I don't know about yours, but my parents, I think they were like set you up for success, right? Me, I'm
Yeah.
thinking now, set my daughter up and my, well, not even my daughter, my four kids. I'm like, set them up for survival. I don't give a fuck if you get to college. Here's what you need to like survive if shit goes down. Would you agree or no?
Yeah, but I mean, again, that's also the shift in our culture, man. It was the your our parents grew up in a different U.S. than we did. That didn't look like there could possibly be an end at sight. We now have a possible end at sight. The clock is ticking, right? It's closer to doomsday than it's ever been. The Huns are circling, and Rome is burning.
Yeah, but
So
my
like,
dad taught me that stuff as well as you need to go to college. Now my focus is nothing about education. It's about actually like making it as a decent human being and being able to live on your own.
and that's also we've also the curtain has been moved and we now see that their college is is a debt scam that
Yeah,
that wasn't
yeah.
really there back. You know what I mean? Like nobody was really talking about how college was going to get you in thousand dollars of debt back in the early 90s. It was no, you're going to go to college so you get a good job and then you're going to outwork me so
Yeah.
you don't have to work as hard as me, right? Because that's what your father was probably setting you up for success wise, was so you didn't have to collect deer piss.
Yeah, I
You know what I
guess that's
mean?
true. No, that's true. That's true. Deer
Yeah.
piss,
So
yeah.
we're in different worlds, man, different perspectives,
Yeah.
and I'm right there with you. I'm trying to set my kid up how to fucking make fires because I don't know, man. We got to collect food. I like maybe I'm one of the right wing conspiracists, but it's too easy for us to have a fucking solar flare and lose power, and because our grid sucks.
Yeah.
Things could go south very.
What a mess, man. I hate that it's like that now. God.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, it's exciting because I have this need to fulfill my tactical
You're in the worst
lifestyle.
area, dude. You're in the worst
Uh,
area.
I know, but I have this need for violence, and it would be cool if I could take my daughter with me.
I
Oh, as when
love it.
you when you meet Mike one day, when you interview Mike, Mike says it the best. He was for Hillary winning. He's for Hillary Clinton winning because he's on the idea that if everybody gets on the boat might tip. So everybody get on the boat. Like
Oh my
just flip that
god.
boat over. I'm very pessimistic, but at the same time though,
I love it.
what are we here for? You
I
know?
can't wait to meet this guy.
Oh, dude, it's you'll love him. You'll love him.
You get back from the deployment, what are you doing at that point? What happened?
So I got back and my platoon sergeant brought me in because they made me oh man, I remember they made me a corporal and they're like, you're gonna be an E5 soon, which that would never happen. But they
Yeah.
made me a corporal and I remember the first NCO meeting I get in, somebody one of the NCOs got like fucked something up and they were talking about who they were gonna put it on for lower ranking wise. And I remember I stood up and was like, hey man, I'm not in the right place. I'm gonna end up whistleblowing for you guys. So let me just leave. And I stood up and I left. And I remember my platoon sergeant asking me, like, are you gonna go SF or are you gonna go EOD again? And I was like, oh shit, I don't know. And he's like, well, you better shit or get off the pot because you're not staying here. And
Yeah.
I was like, all right. And then I went to the recruiter and I remember walking in and the EOD recruiter like asking me what I wanted. And I was like, I don't know if I should go SF or I should talk to you. And he like pulled me out of like the SORB office and was like, dude, you can't be coming in here not knowing what you want to do. And then I was like, well, all right. And he was like, you can always go SF after you go EOD. And I was like, well, I guess I'm going back to EOD, baby. So
I like that
I signed.
he I like that he pulled you aside and did that cuz not a lot of guys do that,
Yeah, yeah, oh no, for sure. But again, there's a like in the whole EOD community, there's a whole treat people like adults thing. So
Yeah.
it was very the whole special operations side of the house. So yeah, that was my first taste of it again since I got out of the schoolhouse, and it it consists of me setting up a packet, getting all the things done, and then I had on the job training that I ended up going to, and I told you the story, but I had a first sergeant who didn't want me to go OJT, and there's a regulation saying that you will go to OJT, so that way we like save money and don't send idiots to the schoolhouse.
Yeah.
And he found out I went to OJT, and then he ended up breaking my good conduct award over his knee and throwing it at my formation.
Salty.
I got the last laugh though because I was sitting in a retirement brief with him one day, like when I was ETSing,
Yeah.
and him and his were so worried that they had to miss a paycheck because they didn't know that once you retire, you get 1 month
Jeez.
without pay. And I was like, "You're a grown person. You don't have a month's worth of pay." And he was like, "No, we weren't ready for this." And I
Not
was
only
like,
that, you
"Well,
don't
you're
have anything.
fucked."
Like you don't have
And I
any
told that
fallback.
I told a first sergeant that he was a fucking idiot. I said, "Well, you're a fucking idiot." And I was like, "And your wife is too for not setting you up with that." And he was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Do you know who you're talking to?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm talking to the guy who broke my award over his knee."
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And I said Horn because that's what his last name was, not the
Yeah.
drop name. What an idiot.
Jesus. So you do that, you meet up with the recruiter, you just got in pretty quick?
Yeah, I mean, it took a little bit, just because paperwork in the
Yeah.
military takes a little, but yeah, it ultimately ended up leading me to be a part of the 723rd as an OJT, as they referred to me as the most infantry man alive, even though I was a power generation technician. And we had a freaking blast over there too. I met a lot of really, really good people that I would follow throughout my career, and they kind of set me up for success, the little that they could for going back to EOD school. But by the time I went back to EOD school, it was down in Fort Lee again. So the entire system changed. It was a lot less hazing. Because
Yeah.
I mean, when I went to school the first time, dude, it was hard as fuck. At least the
Yeah.
phase one was. But I got down to Fort Lee and they kind of standardized it. It made it fairly easy, and
That's good.
I kind of yeah, it
Yeah.
was a ride.
Well, I
But
Dylan, I want to continue this. I gotta go to bed because I got work in the morning. But me and Dylan are gonna continue this actually, here in the next 2 days or so, about his journey from his, that second journey into EOD school and then his ultimate career afterwards. So thank you guys so much for listening tonight. We will have the second episode out pretty quick. So stay tuned. Be sure to listen, like, and subscribe. And we'll see y'all again.